right? I'm the most important person. He could have bought a better brand. My brand used to be very ordinary ones, but that would make me feel fantastic. There would be times when he would walk in and just do this to my tie, right? What's a fantastic stuff. The way he made me feel. And this is probably the biggest learning that I had. It's not so much about what I feel about my leader, but what I feel about myself in his presence, right? I'm sure there's a lot more to discuss in this. I don't want to cross the boundaries that I've set for myself with regard to you, and I'm leaving it there. But I guess the one thought that we want to go back with is, how do people feel about us when they are in our company? And whether we are triggering the right kind of chemicals in their bodies when they are in our company. Thank you very much. Wonderful talking to you. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. This is fascinating. Okay. I need to give you all some basic information first before we can talk about this in all honesty. So I'm approaching this whole thing about leadership from a purely physiological point of view. And then we can connect it to all else, because everything is connected. So behavior can be influenced by the neuroendocrine system, which is your hormones, neurotransmitters. At the moment, there's about 100 that have been identified. There's a lot more, though. But I'm going to mention just a few of them. So in the animal kingdom, we're social animals, and there will always be an alpha, female, male. So that could be termed your leader. Now this happens because of two basic hormones, and they are called serotonin and oxytocin. Both these hormones are considered selfless hormones, and they strengthen our social bonds and create meaningful connections and collaboration. So at the moment, with Kim talking and the whole connectivity we're having here, our serotonin levels are up there. We're all feeling connected, we're all feeling validated, we're all feeling great, right? So serotonin is called the leadership hormone. It flows when you feel significant, important, valued, and proud. Serotonin is released when we look out for others, and others in turn look out for us. It helps refuel your brain for learning and opens you to encouragement and inspiration. It reinforces a sense of relationship and group allegiance and connectivity. It helps us regulate our moods. Sleep and appetite is important for calmness and emotional well-being. It allows people to disagree without attacking the person who offers a different perspective. So you cooperate. It helps choose a different approach to avoid defaulting back to the less effective response. Gratitude is a result of high serotonin levels, because you know and feel you are valued and significant, and hence have much to value in life. High serotonin helps set a mood state to cope, hence function better in a stressful situation. Now, personalities which are dominant with serotonin will be your people who live in the moment, who can be a bit impulsive, thrive on change. They have a natural disdain for order, structure, and authority, so they'll take the step into the unknown. They're optimistic, they're easygoing, the life of the party, they like personal challenges, they're passionate, they're independent. When your serotonin levels are down, you can feel quite lonely, sad, depressed. Some suicidal tendencies is related with that, fatigued, or you can be quite obsessive, compulsive, and want to sort of be on your own. The other group hormone, which is worth mentioning and has to be mentioned, is oxytocin. This is called the love drug. This is when somebody smiles at you, touches you, shakes hands with you, gives you a hug, you feel great. It produces oxytocin through your system. So when we experience friendship and trust and physical touch, it reinforces and activates oxytocin. This is what bonds mothers and babies. This is what people share in an intimate relationship. It creates intimacy, trust, and feeling someone will protect you. The presence of leaders who connect with their team increases oxytocin in both the leader and the team members, and trust is formed. So teamwork and safety is what it brings forth. If you're stressed, it produces another hormone called cortisol. And the reason I'm mentioning this, because when that is up there in stress, your cortisol level is inhibited. You can't connect. You want to isolate. You want to run away. The other two chemicals that are significant is dopamine and endorphins. Now, these are considered the selfish hormones, in that they help us personally get things done and achieve more. It's important. So dopamine, being the first one, is important for attention, motivation, goal-directed behavior. It's activated when you find something of self-interest. It's related to the reward center in the brain. So achieving goals and simply getting things done gives you a rush of dopamine. So to-do lists is important. Small steps are important because it's goal-orientated. It's the most satisfying, hence the most addictive. Cocaine produces dopamine in the brain. Similar feeling. It aids to reinforce behavior. That means you feel good. I'm also going to throw in here, dopamine is what is produced that gives you the urge to check your phones. People who have high dopamine in their bloodstream are strong-willed. They know how to get what they want. They function well under stress. They focus on goals. They're strategic thinking. They're inventive. They're problem-solving. Taken to a higher level of dopamine, they can be intense, driven, impulsive. And extremes, they can be violent and earn for power. Low dopamine levels will give you self-doubt. You will procrastinate, lack of enthusiasm, memory loss. You can get the blues, insomnia, fatigue. The other one is endorphins. This is simply released as a response to pain and stress. This is what they call the runner's high. When you exercise, you hit the wall, but you keep going and you feel great. It's the ability to endure. It masks pain. The system starts dripping endorphins in the body to reduce pain so you can do more. It helps you stay focused, move forward. It actually helps you see difficulties as challenges. So you can study into the night and still keep going. Last but not least, the two other hormones I do need to mention is cortisol and testosterone. Now, cortisol is very important. It is the hormone that regulates our stress. It's essential for survival. It's a fight-flight response. But high cortisol levels inhibits the release of oxytocin, so one is most likely to isolate. This happens with stress. But the ratio between cortisol and testosterone is what creates great leaders. High testosterone and low cortisol will result in a confident, calm leader who takes on challenges. They approach problems with a challenging framework. High testosterone and high cortisol results in an aggressive, stressed leader who sees things as threats. Hence, they can react, or they can avoid, or they can basically submit. So that's some basic knowledge about some of the hormones that work through us. So bringing into the forefront some of the traits of leadership, I will try and connect these. So what is a leader? He has a vision. Usually a leader will begin a vision that is of self-interest. And that will be your dopamine that gets kicked in. And then it becomes a bigger picture. It becomes about others. And that becomes serotonin. It gets kicked in. The focus of that is also brought in by the endorphins because that helps you keep going. Other traits, strong-willed, goal-setting, small steps, achievements, driven, intense, competitive. All this is dopamine. That's rushing through their veins. They're tireless. They work through the night. They keep going. Dopamine. Resilient, endure hard work, endorphins. Now, when leaders come into community, in mothers, it's all about being selfless, responsible for others, pride, support, loyalty, allegiance, connectivity, serotonin, and oxytocin. That's what's raging. Empathy, compassion, trust, safety, teamwork, oxytocin. Gratitude, appreciation, humility, serotonin. competitiveness, determination, assertion, testosterone. So this just gives you a bit of a understand how biology affects us, but equally how we think, what words we say, how we stand also affects hormone production and can create different behaviors. So the question is, are leaders born or are they made? Well, they're both actually. You can be aggressive one. You can be you can basically, yes. I mean, a simple thing. Some of the things I noticed from the beginning, sitting with our feet apart, legs on the ground. The reason we do that, we say yes, we ground ourselves, but it actually helps the testosterone come into your system. And testosterone is your fight flight. It makes you present. It makes you here. And that is partly what it's clicked in. It's the power stance. It's what's considered the power stance, and that's testosterone. So there are reasons for this. There's a reason we do these things. The reason we feel sometimes, like today, we were talking when Kim was validating everybody, Kim was supporting everybody, Kim was an appreciation of everybody. It's the serotonin levels. Her serotonins are high, which will impact everybody else. That's a leadership quality. The fact we make eye contact, the fact I'm reaching out, I've got your attention, oxytocin. It's how we connect. Well, his way of basically connecting to another, oxytocin, he's trying to reach out, but he obviously feels he's praising others because he can recognize others what he can recognize in himself. It's still oxytocin. It's the self-validate. Either you validate someone else or yourself. It still produces the same hormone. It produces the same hormone. Your focus might be elsewhere. Interestingly, when leaders or if anybody is in doubt, one of the things you do is you try and remember past achievements, what you've done that's been really good. And the brain cannot differentiate what is real or imagined. So by having what they call positive talk, talking to yourself positively, reinforcing yourself, is all about increasing the serotonin. That's what that is about. Well, you don't need to. The main thing, the important thing to understand, because the natural way is all of these hormones. The body produces hormones, but they also come to, if they produce, a lot of it's produced, they will deplete after a while. And they need time to be produced again. And this is why sleep, rest is important. That's one of the reasons. Meditation